When I think back on all the fears when I was pregnant, all of them dismissed except for one. The only test the state mandated was genetic. Looking for that extra chromosome.
Hello, and welcome to the If We Knew Then podcast. I'm Steven Sachs,
And I'm Lori Sachs.
and this episode is about summer. Summer fun, work, how we work as a family. And
Summertime and the living is easy. Except for Liam, who works
no,
really hard.
the work doesn't stop. Summer does not stop the work for Liam, and we've learned that that is a good time to
Have
get
our
focused
impact.
and
That's
have
how
our
we-
yes.
Now, Liam is eligible for summer school. And after, I think he went to summer school 1 or 2 years.
I think
and then-
twice.
Twice. And then we realized that it wasn't really having the effect that he needed. It's not the same support
Wasn't the
that he
format
needs.
that he has at school?
It's not an inclusive environment.
It's a special day class format that
Basically, yeah.
wasn't
And then-
working for him.
And also, it does gear towards other needs, and so it wasn't really the supports that Liam needed.
Right.
What helps him to rise to the occasion. And we realized that in the same amount of hours, if we gave him the same amount of time every day, that we saw an immediate impact. I think
Correct.
last year was the first year that we didn't send him to summer school.
Last year.
Last year, we didn't
Mm-hmm.
send him to summer school, and I'm not advocating that for anyone because also we should mention that we do have the benefit of that we usually don't work during the summer.
Right. So
We
we
had-
do have a lot of time that
At
we
least
can.
at least one of us is always here.
Correct.
This summer and last summer, both of us were here for the most.
Yes,
majority
majority
of it.
of the summer.
So we do have that luxury, and a lot of people do not have that luxury.
And even if you did do summer school, this is something you could also do either on those days, but also the days that you don't have summer school. Summer school isn't that long, actually.
Just a couple
4,
hours.
6 weeks, something
Right.
like that.
And truthfully, I think this approach was born out of a friend of ours with a son who has Down syndrome as well. Have found a course online, and I immediately saw the impact that these procedures and applications. I saw her son just blossom. So we started to implement our own and break down like certain things that we find that Liam responds to, repetition of things. As far as our son, I can't speak for every child with Down syndrome because I believe that everybody learns differently. So I would never venture to say this is it. But we find that repetition really works with him.
And having a designated time each day, I mean, trying to,
Trying to.
and try to do 4
fluctuates.
or 5 days a week on major things like speech, math, spelling, reading. That's going to basically cover
Everything.
And then anything specific you want to do.
Try to keep it within 1.5 to 2 hours. 2 hours is
That's a
maximum.
lot.
And that's usually when
Yes.
behaviors are
That can be split
awry.
up to.
One time
sometimes because
I
of
was able to
behavior.
go like 1 hour because it is just the repetition, picking what where the need is. I have a notebook. This year I
It's
did.
like when we did. You do the alphabet. You're going to do the alphabet over and over and
Right,
over and over
right.
until you get it. That's what we've kind of chosen. Some things, money, counting
for math
money,
because
for
he's
math.
going from 2nd to 3rd grade. So
It's something
this
we wanted
this
him to-
summer was
the clock.
and also money really helps with multiplication.
That's
Fives
true.
and tens,
Mhm,
right?
fives
And
and tens.
25s, which
Yep.
I don't know if he needs. So what we do is, we're just going to jump right into it, right?
Yeah.
So as far as the work goes, let's just get that. That's what we do in our day too. Is I think having something that once he gets used to it, and it's just like, okay, we're going to do the work, and then after the work, there's always whether it be swimming, whether
Some
it be
reward.
going to the zoo, watching a movie on your iPad. Tuesday movies. At the movie theater are $5, so let's go to the movie theater. Whatever it is, there's a reward there, and so he definitely knows that's coming, and he's gotten used to it. And it gets easier as the weeks go. And I do think actually it's like concentrate schoolwork. So I believe it's equivalent to what he may get within a full school day, especially
just without the social
without
stuff
the
and
social,
lunch
but
and
that's why we take him to. And then there's art
and-
days. Like there's
yeah.
days that if we're going to go to the zoo and we're going to do this and we're going to do art, so that counts as like the socialization. That counts as doing art. There's music. There's so many different things that we try to like implement. He so responds to music, and I think he really responds to just like our daughter, just trying something new and being included. And sometimes it's just because we have a daughter who's preteen, and it's just giving them that permission to kind of, all right, this is what we're just gonna do this, and it's maybe not easy at first, but then hey, look how much fun that is.
And it quickly becomes just the norm.
Yeah.
And that's where repetition helps.
Right.
Especially with Liam. You just do it over and over, and then after a few times, like, this is just what we do. The way we kind of figured the best for us is we have a composition book, start out with the day and month and a year. We write
And
that out.
depending
we
on what
talk
grade,
about
but you
that.
can do that for any grade, whether it be
Sure.
kindergarten, first grade, second grade, sixth grade, whatever it is.
We're working on
like,
him writing, so he writes that. We also have
What are
his
the needs?
spelling words for him. He writes those spelling words. We go over those spelling words. We also go over sight words. We have a big stack of index cards. He likes to actually hold the card, say the word, set it down. We've learned that kind of is a way to get him through instead of just holding a card in front of his face and he
But
talks.
that's been a progression. Now that wasn't always. He just likes it. But what I did with that book to break it down further is I said, okay, there's OT. What are his services? And actually coming off of the IEP and reading all those reports, this is where you start to go forward and make the difference, because whatever we see that from the IEP, you also get a vision of what they see Liam's needs are, also what we see Liam's needs are. So I broke that composition notebook into OT. For OT? His writing. So we got the work for the grade he's going into, so we could front load it. We requested it. We paid for the books, and so I use his spelling words to not only front load so they're not the first time he sees them, so he's used to these words, but also as a OT. So I'm helping him write, and I'm helping him form those letters, and so he doesn't have that time to lag. Because if you go from writing every day to, and I don't know who's listening and what grade we're in and what levels. Obviously, like in kindergarten, the writing was you can, but you get to watch. But what's great is you get to watch. You get to watch them grow over the months. You get to be there and see the work and do the work and see the progress. So whatever grade level it is, for us going into the third grade, he needs to work on his writing. So we have his words, so they're not the first time. And also he's OT. Then we have math, and we're working on money and multiplication. And I'm going to tell you, if you want to teach multiplication by 5s and 10s, high five. That's
a great way to work
It's
for
great.
Liam.
It's fun. It's like any kid, they learn more if they're doing and engaging, and it's fun. So we do high fives.
And of course, we think the high fives, that's PT.
Yeah. And then we do high fives, and then we do high tens.
And also you have all the coins out. You can put those back. We have a little Ziploc bag. He puts them back in. That's a little OT.
Yeah, it's just kind of like having distinct categories, and then you kind of, and we try to put it into the rest of the day as well, which is a lot of fun, just like different ways to, like if we're doing the spelling words and we see what the spelling words are, we will use those words more frequently.
Yeah, that'll always come up during the day or week.
And then we'll go, oh, bird. How do you spell bird? Like if there's a bird, and he doesn't know he's doing the work, but he's doing the work. And what I've learned in my journey with teaching both of my children, because my daughter used to get very frustrated too, because she just wanted to know it instantly. But what I've learned is patience and letting go of what I believe the end result should be, and just know that I look at it more like I'm inputting. I'm introducing and inputting, and I'm making him comfortable with what he's learning. And that's it. And that was the same. And when I started to take that same approach, a very patient approach with my daughter, I saw a big difference as well. Our daughter does not have Down syndrome. So if I take the same approach with Stephen, just having the patience and just saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, and let's do it, no matter what. I think it's a very human way to approach learning that can be very challenging.
If I went into any new experience and you took your time and patience with me and front-loaded information, I mean, what...
So I wasn't
You'd love that.
surprised when I
You're
got it.
always asking for
Absolutely.
front-loaded information in every situation.
Right.
So why
How
not
long
give
will
it
I
to your
be
kid? And
there?
we've
What
learned that
is expected?
It's not something we actually did with Sophia.
Nope.
We
But we could have.
We should have.
Yeah,
we
we do
realize
now.
that that's something that we do now, and that's something that we need to incorporate.
And I think like when we're saying about how we work together, I think that's one thing, because Liam has an older sibling, and I think siblings, I mean, the benefit and just the relationship and who she is as a human is largely affected, just like you're affected no matter what, whoever your family is. But I think just seeing how hard he works, then that gives her, she does the same thing where she works over the summer on whatever is coming.
Well,
And she's
then it
not
just
afraid
becomes the
for
norm
things to be
that we're going
challenged.
to work.
Right.
We're
Go ahead,
going
say
to,
that again.
It's just going to become the norm that we need to work at this certain level to see success that we want, the success level we want. So
And it's okay to work.
it's okay to work. It's okay to play during the summer too.
Mm-hmm.
But the way to actually have a better experience through the school year is to do a little in the summer.
And that she gets on that level. And I just think for Liam, we've just broken it down to where we're just trying to give him, and it worked last year where he went into the school year with a little step up. He was familiar with things. His first quarter of math, he got a 3. Now, after being in school and not receiving his support that he's supposed to receive, or the same way that we give him support, he fell down by the end of the school year. He was getting a 1 in math. So
And that was 3 out of 4. We're saying the 4.
Right.
I don't know how everyone's school grades
but he
are.
was still getting a 3, and he
No, I'm
knew
just-
how to do
yes.
math going
Not
into
3 out of
second
100
grade.
is my point. 3.
Right. No, 3 on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 being more.
Right.
We see the difference between when he's being supported. And I think this year, going into the school year, we know we've learned a lot from last year, which I think that we always hope that we do. And we'll take from that a definite better communication and a more, if I have to request every week, what is the curriculum and how are you doing it? Then I guess that's what I have to do, because he definitely benefits from being supported. So the first part of summer is work. We're going to work. We give them 1 week off we went to the beach. We gave them 1 week off all right, you finished the school year, so they got to work. And then, because honestly, it's work for
Got
us
to relax.
too. Yeah, they got to relax. Did I say work?
Yes.
But honestly, it's for us too. And this is, knowing our circumstance where we're home, we know that that's a unique circumstance that not everybody has. Or how many siblings does your child have, or how much other work do you have set out before you? We understand that varies on all different levels. This is just hopefully something that maybe some ideas that during your summer that you can use, because you can ask for what's coming up. We ask for it. We ask for it in writing. We ask for it in the IEP. You can ask for it. What are the stories? What
books
is
they'll be
the
using.
books? And my husband went online actually and was able
Found
to
books, used books, much
Yeah.
more affordable than they would sell us at school.
Yeah.
You can maybe even put in your IEP. It's
I
very
don't know.
possible you
I
can
guess
put in
you
your
could.
IEP where you
Yeah.
could get that. The school would actually
Some
give you
schools
those
have,
or
like-
loan those books to you
right.
possibly.
Some schools have some systems are that you can do it online, and so that's something. That honestly, books work for us. So and that's more for how I learn and how I teach.
Yeah, tangible
So-
book.
Yeah, a
works for us.
tangible book is what I like. I don't have a Nook. I even have to read my books. I like to hold a book and read a book. That's me. So that's I think that's why I have such compassion, is that I understand everybody does things differently. So we get what next year will be. Our focus, I think, is on reading, on writing, and on spelling. And honestly, his spelling test, if you just looked at him, I think the most he got right last year were 3 out of 10 or 3 out of 12. But then looking at phonetically, that's huge. So if you get the spelling test and they're like, 1 out of 10, you can look and then say, well, look at how phonetically.
Or
and
he
that
spelled clock just CLOK.
Right.
He
that shows he understands phonetically a sound. He just doesn't, and sometimes like a speech deficit, that definitely impacts the ability to spell. It impacted our daughter because she had a speech challenge, and it definitely affected her spelling tests
Yes.
in school. And then when her teeth came in fully, her spelling improved. So different things affect in all areas. I think
We do concentrate on
I feel
math
kind
as
of like
well.
we're trying to rush through, just like we try to rush through like work. We want to get the work part out of the way.
Yes.
We organize it, and then we also know You know what? He's going into third grade. The concept of months, not fully there. Days of the week, we're not fully there.
We're
right?
not.
Date, not fully there. So these are things that along the way he wasn't the fundamentals that he didn't, the foundations that he didn't really receive totally. So we've been working on those. So every day, today is Tuesday. I take a calendar. I got a calendar from the dollar store so he can look at the calendar. I show him the month. At the beginning of the summer, I showed him every month so it would be refreshed. I don't know what he knows totally.
An exciting thing for him was to reinforce his birth date.
Yes.
Because that's something he really likes, of course. So we showed him where that was in the calendar, and we that's something that is a multi-weekly question to him. Hey, when's your birthday? Because that you're going to...
Well, it comes because maybe even every day, he's like, so can we go to Disneyland for my birthday?
Hey, let's go to Disneyland.
So
we have to tell him when that's going to happen.
And on your birthday, and then now he's the February 19th. He knows he'll be 10 and he's going to go to Disneyland. And then to reiterate the days of the week, I say today is Wednesday. What was yesterday? Yesterday was, Tuesday. Tuesday, what did we do? And we write down what we did yesterday. Or if I wrote it down already, we go over what we did yesterday, and then we write down what do we want to do today. And then tomorrow, since it's open and blank, we say what the day is. So today is Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday. We went to the movies. Tomorrow is Friday.
Thursday.
Today is...
So we do this partially for our own education.
Tomorrow is I always want it to be Friday, don't I? So Thursday, and but it's just finding the areas that you want to reiterate, and then I just do repetition every day.
It really sets you up well for the school year too, because, man, school's a lot of work, and Liam works very hard with all his services. So this is a way that transition's easier getting back into school. Plus, I always take weekends. We kind of take at least one day during the weekend to be like a little mini summer where we're just reinforcing what we're doing. We're at least going over his next week's words. Just give him an extra day or two with those words for the spelling words, sight words, stories that we're going to read for comprehension, reinforce math. So it sets us up as a family, not only helping Liam, but like we said before, showing our daughter how you need to work.
And it's okay to not get something right away. It's okay to have to learn it.
Yeah, I think it's a great lesson for her to say.
I think
hey,
it's just period, because
let's just for everyone, just over and over and over until you get it. You'll get it.
You will get it.
You will.
And I think for her, that was a really hard lesson to understand, that she had to work at learning something. Like,
it's
she didn't
hard to
understand.
learn patience.
Yeah.
You want to know things right away. You want to be
Why
able to
don't
do
I know
things right away.
this?
I want to be a grown-up right away.
Self-judgment. I'm dumb.
So this is a great learning experience for everyone, specifically for our daughter as well, just to know, hey, be a little easier on yourself. Just keep going. Do again. That could be
sometimes it's
schoolwork,
hard,
could be
but it gets
violin,
easier,
could
right?
be juggling, could be running.
Making
You
a
just
flan.
Keep doing it. Yeah.
But
Baking.
Which is really great for measuring and for science and for
We
math.
can find educational reasons to do anything.
And it can be fun that way. Cooking in the kitchen is great, as far as there's so many different ways, things that, they can learn. Even if it's just on the timer when something is being cooked, to just say, all right, now we're going to count down from wherever your child is, their starting point, even a little higher. And then, boy, when Liam gets to the point where he knows the countdown and he gets to do it along, it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe the number increases and increases and increases. So what we find with work is that we request the following years what he's going to be learning to front load. We request that
at the end of the year.
At the end of the year.
We request for the following year.
For the following
gives
year.
them time to get it to us.
If you can do it, depending on when your IEP comes, you can actually ask for it, then that's a good time when you're having the discussion, because you can discuss other ways of supporting him or what he's going to need, assistive technology, and taking that home so that way you can front load everything into the assistive technology.
And even if you can't physically get the textbooks, if you can just get the number, take a photo where the publisher's numbers are, you can take a photo of that or write it down. You can look up any book with that number. I forget what it is.
We got books
Not like
that
a VIN
cost
number for a car, but for a book.
for $8.
Yeah, right. It was used, but it's in good shape. I mean, you could. I remember
When
all
someone
through
reads
school, I always
them,
got used books.
right? So the work part, if we knew then, request following year's work, what they're going to be, especially like the first, the first couple weeks, they're just reiterating maybe last year. So find out what they're going to be working on so you can front load it. Have a notebook.
Write down sight words onto index
Right.
cards. Get a notebook.
We do for speech, we approach it through sight words and also with the spelling words. So he writes the spelling words, and then I also write those on a note card, and I incorporate that into all the sight words. So he just gets used to articulating the words that he's going to need to articulate during the school year. And it's work, and then you get to hear them get better. And what I'll do is on the words that are really challenging to say, I turn them over. I write it phonetically.
on the back of the index card. That
Thought.
He even knows to grab it.
T-H-O-U-G-H-T.
I know, right.
I spell T-H-A-W-T. Thought. And I separate it into syllables. So T-H-A-W-T. And that way.
And he's seen you turn that card
yeah,
enough that
so
he turns
it. Right. So.
And you find little things like that. You find little things that make it fun too.
Mm-hmm.
One of his sight words, or maybe a spelling word, was done, and we've
That's
kept
the
it
last
this way.
word.
It's the last word of this big pile of 100 and so index cards that he goes through each day. He knows done.
Done means he's done.
He's done.
And then we also do with the words, like some words we will hear in movies.
Right.
So-
remember Bugs is one that he.
Right. And he loves Jumanji. I know. It's PG-13, but he's watched Jumanji, and it's great. But there's a part where Jack Black says, rude. And so whenever he gets to rude,
He kind of acts that out.
it helps because he may not pronounce it correctly fully.
Right.
And then I started to say, oh, like in Jumanji, and then he'll pronounce it fully. So
and then he
it's
knows
fun.
it in some sort of context too. That is a fun context, not
Right.
just on the fly. I'm coming up with, don't be rude. Like, what does that tell you?
Right.
Or like Bugs for Bugs Life. He sees the title, A Bug's Life, and he likes that, and he says, "Oh, I want to watch that. Great. That might be something that would be an end of a week kind of reward." Well, it also happens to be
One of his words.
one of his words. So,
Bugs.
and he sees it heard, and he sees it said. I mean, hears it said, sees it. He sees it as a word, and he hears it being said, and that reinforces.
And also a fun way to help with speech and also with reading is we put the subtitles on everything.
Always, and he
And he
it's
reads it.
something
And now he's to
really
the point where he
liked.
stops the movie, reads
And he'll
it.
say, "I would like the words. I want words, please."
And then, but when he's watching his movies, he'll, on his iPad, he stops them to say the dialogue because
Yes.
he's recognizing the words. We do the work to reinforce what he's learned. We do the work to bridge the gap of what he needs, and we do the work to introduce what's coming because we feel and we've found that with Liam, repetition is definitely the thing that works. And also making it fun and incorporating it into every day. So even putting little things around the house, little note cards around the house, which we haven't gotten
That's something we've never
to that.
done, but
We
yeah,
haven't, but
that
it's
is-
definitely,
that's a
I've
good
heard
trick.
that definitely work. We, he
A
listens.
post-it, like a post-it note lamp, and you put it on the lamp.
Right. And he listens to music. And so I wake him up with music every day. So he sings. And you know what? He doesn't know he's doing speech, but he is. So it's pretty great. And that's it. And then every day, and we as human beings falter sometimes and can't do it every day, but we try to get it in. And an hour and a half. We've had 1 or 2 days that have gone to 2 hours, but that's mostly because he's really tired. But we're going to push through. And if I see him getting
Maybe
too
get a
tired,
break.
then I just kind of, I'll bridge the gap. I'll take the lead. I'll say, "What's this?" And he doesn't know a quarter today. So I'll be like, "Remember, it's the biggest one. Here, you could read it on there. It's a cool." And then he'll say quarter. So you help him along. You do, because it is the summer.
Bridge the gap till you're not bridging the gap anymore.
Bridge the gap
as much.
until he can
Right.
lift him until he can fly on his own.
Yeah. But
And,
good. So this is about just the importance of not letting the summer get by you.
But there's fun ways too. Like
Oh, it's all-
we
it
we
can
go
be
and
fun.
we swim, and that's great. PT
Mm-hmm.
and getting his body moving, and sensory and socialization. We go see movies. We take advantage of the museums. I don't know what's at your disposal, but there's lots of fun things out there, especially during the summertime. There's always a
Activities and I mean, there's activities at your local library.
One thing that when we took a trip and we were in Boston and we were in New Hampshire, and the thing I loved the most was just how positive, and it was just so much education that both of our kids didn't know that they were constantly learning.
Yeah, that's an area of the country where that's a huge history class.
Right, Paul Revere, Thoreau,
Sure.
the Alcott.
Yes, reading.
It's just
yes,
amazing
Poetry.
literature. Just and what I loved and what I took away from last summer was Thoreau and his comments on learning. And yeah, Liam can sit in a classroom with a book and learn, but he can also he can go to the speech room and be given a piece of paper with a picture of a dog and a cat by a barn and work on speech there. Or we can go out to the farmer's market and
Name vegetables,
or play a song and sing a song, or just so many different ways that he can still, and that's the thing about education. That's the thing about this whole journey about education, because I don't know how it's changing or how it's going to change or what's going to be out there for him or what benefits, or I don't know, but I know it's changing and I know it's getting greater and better and more accessible. At least that's my hope. What he can learn just by living, just by being out and seeing the sky is blue, or in the garden and feeling the leaves and the ground, and here's the soil, and we're going to water. There's a science class right there in planting a plant. So what I loved and what I learned on our trip to the East Coast was just how through life we learn. And there's a lot of pressure put on my child when it comes. There's a lot of pressure and also a lot of low expectation put on Liam as far as his education and curriculum goes. But what I love is that I know that if I just keep filling him, that his life isn't just about from August to June and getting a 1 to a 3 and what are his grades and do you know this? Because it's a culmination. It's a culmination of every day that makes who he is. And we have these challenges and these things that kind of come in that we don't have control over, and the positive ones lift him and the other ones maybe bring challenges, but he's going to learn. And so if I can find a way to just make it part of his life and not just this thing that has a stigma and is mostly a challenge. And at this point, it's been like a commentary on what they believe he can't do. If I can make it to where he can see and have the lesson of what matters is what he knows he can do, and his life as a journey of building and learning every day. That's education. That's an education. That's a life educated, is that he can learn every day from simple things. He can learn about art. He can learn by cooking. He can learn how to tell time. He can learn how to count just by doing a high five, right? And I think that's, as far as the summer goes, we instill and we have a program that we use to support him so he can go into the school year. And it's mostly so he can just go into the school year and he's not going to fall into the stereotype that they try to put him into, because he's worked really hard to learn. But then also to integrate education, and that education isn't just in a school book. Education is all around him. Every aspect of his education and what he needs to learn is in just living.
Right.
So that brings summertime and life and learning into something that's not so intimidating. And I think it also is good for our daughter
And
to
it's
see
exciting.
that. It's exciting and it's not intimidating, and it's full of possibility and hope.
Right.
Just like summer is. It's full of possibility and hope. And it's this blank page. But that's how every single day should be approached.
Right.
So if we can give him that foundation in the summer, then that's like the best thing. So that's what we do with our summer. We work hard, and then we play just as hard, even if it's just playing Monopoly, which is a great way to teach your daughter math.
That's right.
We've learned. So that's our summer, is a lot of work and a lot of play.
And you'll see the benefits.
And it's not like oh, it's summertime, great, we're escaping school. It's like, oh, it's summertime, now this whole field is open and we can continue to learn and continue to have fun.
Well, thanks so much.
That's our summer. It was a good one.
Please follow us on Twitter at If We Knew Then Pod, and you can drop us a line on our Facebook page at If We Knew Then Pod, or visit our website, ifweknewthen.com, to send us an email with questions and comments. And you can join our mailing list there and get alerts of future podcast episodes. All these links will be added to this episode's show notes. Thank you again, and we look forward to you joining us on the next episode of If We Knew Then.